Opening statement. I just feel really grateful. I'm grateful for a lot of reasons. For the past, to have all the experiences that I've had, that's prepared me for this moment. I've learned from the best, in my opinion, not just the best coach, but one of the best people. And I'm grateful to, have a team that did what they should have done tonight. And, it'll be a little different feel when the games count and start playing your caliber of people. And we're going to do that, next Wednesday, and then it really blossoms after that. So I'm grateful to have this win. Too much has been made of that. I think just for me personally, publicly, but for me personally, it's very huge because it's everything you wanted so many years ago, but wasn't coveting, right? It was just like I was so happy to be where it was, and now when you get this opportunity, and thanks to my great boss, Beth Getz, and our president, Barbara Wilson, so I'm very thankful for it personally. But it really, the players just do just such a really fun job tonight. So that's my statement, is I couldn't be happier. We did what we should have done. I see a lot of great things. I see a lot of stuff we got to work on, but that's pretty normal. That's pretty normal, what I felt the last 24 years in my other gig, and it's pretty normal for tonight. You want to feel this way your first game, feeling like a lot more positive, but you do want to, know what you have to work on too.
I know it's just an exhibition game, but with 4 new starters, 6 new players overall, looked like you guys came out and looked like they've been playing together for years. Just what do you take away from a win like that?
Well, I was really pleased with that because Hannah, as we know, she had some knee issues, so she really hasn't practiced since September, middle of it, a little on and off, managing the load. We don't have Sid right now. I credit Sid Folter a lot. She has led since the season ended. She led when Lucy came into this group, and then we had to lose her, but she continued to lead. So Lucy and Hannah and Sid, arguably 3 of our cogs, they've never really played together much. So this type of game, that's why you like to have the exhibitions, that showed us that Hannah's a player, right? Players play. It showed us Lucy's a player, and they're going to try to figure things out. Certainly, we did what we should have done. Let us be clear on that, right? So I was happy. I think that's been my biggest, probably if you had to say concern or kind of a bummer that you lost all those weeks with those 3. But you can't do what we do as coaches. There's adversity. And if that's all, now I'd like our turn of adversity to be over, and now we could focus and sit back and work with this. I think this would be a fun group to work with.
It looked like before the game you had kind of a zen moment with the team in the huddle, big smile on your face at that time. Can you share just what you were maybe saying to the team as you were in that position for the first time?
Oh, I really told them, because all of those guys, except, Hannah, it is their first time. They've been waiting to sit in those chairs. Kylie's been waiting to sit there. Taylor's been waiting to sit there. Addie and Ava are in a pretty strong fight. They've been waiting to sit there. Lucy has been there in the Big East, but she hadn't been there here. So for them, I wanted them to have the moment to be like, you've got to where you've wanted to be. And I just wanted them to go out and shine because every day, I know part of this is because I'm new, but we've not had one bad practice. We've had some bad moments is like, we just didn't do a drill or, I had to call a timeout and kind of get on them. And I don't want to burn that timeout in practice. But I think part of that's because I'm new and they're working so hard for me and I'm working so hard for them. But I remembered a few bad practices. You just leave and like, that was 3 hours we wasted, right? But these guys haven't done that. And I was really just excited for them to see them shine because they've certainly had some really shining moments. So that's kind of what I told them.
Coach, leading up to this game last night or even today, did you have a special meal with friends and family or anyone celebrate you?
No. I tell you what, I have a circle that's incredible. And I got a big circle And then I got a little, that inner circle. I mean, they are with me. I mean, I can't really get back to all the text, right? But yeah, that's what's so cool about staying in a state you love and getting to coach, where I love to coach. And I mean, I grew up here, and there are a lot of lifelong Hawks, and I'm probably a lot of lifelong Jan fans, right? So they've just been great, and I just feel kind of embarrassed because they just get too focused. And I don't know if some of you have seen Hamilton. What's the famous line? I wanted to be in the room, or what is that line?
The room where it happens.
Yeah. So she was texting me. She drove I don't know how many hours tonight just because she quoted the line. I know all of you sitting here, you have those people. So that is what I'll remember about tonight. And some people are coming in next week because they don't think this one counted or whatever. So that just is touching.
Speaking of before the game, were you planning on running up to hug Lisa? Is that going to be an every game thing?
No. And Lisa she was trying to be incognito, right? And she's like, I was trying not to be in the way. I'm like, well, you got a statue outside, right here, the little Hawkeye statue. But it was just kind of like a nod. It's got to be weird too, right? I mean, it's weird for me, but I'm still in it. And it can be weird in my opinion, and you're still very happy with she does not want to watch any film tonight, I can tell you that, right? She's been there, done that. But this is who she is. It'll be forever who she is. She has so many marks, not only on Iowa, but on Drake, and I will say on this nation. And that's got to be kind of weird when you're up there. And I just wanted her to know that I always tell her she's forever on my sideline. And I'm pretty sure I told her, if there's ever something you need me to do, if you send it through telepathy, I might hear it, right? So I just wanted her to know that I'm thankful, and I owe so very much to her. But it wasn't I didn't do it for a lot of talking about it or PR. It just felt, right to do.
You mentioned Hannah earlier, just caught me off guard a little bit, not seeing her with the wrap on her knee after going through last season. As much as this offseason has had some hurdles, how much does she continue to ramp up and look like, the player you think she could be?
Yeah, I think tonight was, when the lights come on, I saw a little different intensity with her. But yeah, I think the thing is, what you miss, we played her at the 5 last year, so now we're playing her at the 4, and that's her natural position. But we lost a lot of reps of that, and that's what concerned me the most. So now we got to keep building on that. It was nice to see her hit a 3. She had some powerful drives, but the competition's going to get bigger and better, and it's just a lot of reps. So I'm happy about tonight, and it was great to see her do all those things. But this is where I'm hoping that Hannah's a player. And so even without those reps, she's going to be able to do the things that we're going to need, a really strong 4 player be able to do. Because I know she can do it at the 5, up until you play a 6'7", right? Everybody last year thought we were like, oh, she's playing the 5. But there was only going to be a couple people in the country we were going to have trouble with. And, when we got to South Carolina, nobody beat them. So I'll stick by that, right? But she could play both. But I think it will behoove us if we can keep developing her as the 4. But I thought big strides tonight.
Jan, you've talked about working through the emotion of this since May. You've talked about how close your inner circle is and how they've supported you. I guess what's been the key to you balancing your work responsibilities, personal responsibilities, and just sort of managing the emotion and everything that's...
I'm just kind of my little personal thing. I just stay in my lane. Some nights I'll work late and the shoes seem a little bigger than others. I think anybody, I'm guessing some nights President Wilson has a night that seems like wasn't quite as easy today as it was yesterday. And, just a lot of, there's emotion, and it's an ever-changing landscape with college sports. And sometimes you can let that get to you, Everybody can. I could let it, my gig last year, I'm recruiting the heck out of things. But with emotion and wanting to do so well for so many people, and you just got to tell your kids, your team, my own children, just stay in your lane and just focus on that next task. So that's kind of been what I've said, and I just I have just real 2 couple really close confidants that they only really know how I always feel.
Coach, it's been nearly 5 years since you played without Caitlin Clark, and nearly 25 since.
Who?
And nearly 25 since Lisa Bleeder wasn't the one on the sidelines. As a lifelong Iowan especially, what does it kind of mean to you to not only start it off with a win, but start off this new era of Iowa women's basketball?
Well, what I'd like to think is, I think why people have enjoyed our teams over the years is because of what you saw tonight. You know, when the plays were kind of fun. I think there was one play in particular that I would like to hope will always be indicative of Iowa basketball. It touched everybody. I think Kylie hit the three. I think that's why people really have liked Iowa basketball, whether it's Gustafson, whether it's Doyle, whether it's Caitlin and Kate and all the, the heroes, is there's something about the wonderful young women we attract that, they love each other, that's probably clearly what I think Tegan said the most. I love my team, right? So I think that is what I hope. And I think if we can do that, we can continue to play with that joy and that fun, then it's fun and joyful for everybody to come watch too. And then hopefully we get the wins. But that, I think, is more holistically how I approach it. Because if I go, you look at that quarter of a century Lisa was here nearly, or the Caitlin Clark era, it's part of the journey and the story of Iowa women's basketball. Just like Lark Burnsong was, just like the great Vivian Stringer years, and just like the dips, right? And there'll be ebbs and flows in this year too. And so just kind of staying in my lane again, right? But part of that is you want to honor that. You want to honor all that has been built. There's a responsibility and there's a pressure to that. But again, pressure is a privilege, right? But also these guys are excited about it. And so I'm just excited that they got a taste of it. But I'm also not a rookie in the sense of 32 years. These games should be like this. I hope we're celebrating all the things we're talking about next Wednesday, and then the following Saturday or Sunday whenever we go to Charlotte. So I think that's my answer to that, is I'm so grateful. But I'd like to just keep it the holistic of these are the bits and pieces, what you saw and enjoyed tonight. If we think really hard, I think the similar things is what we enjoyed last year and all the years before when it's a good win. And that's what I hope we keep building on.
You started Abby O'Grady at center today, and you talk about the crowd-pleasing plays. I think certainly in terms of your bench, when O'Grady was being up the 5'4" guard on the perimeter for 10 or 15 seconds, certainly got a reaction from the crowd and from the players. What was in the decision to start O'Grady, and how did you feel seeing her put forth 15 minutes, 8 points on the court?
Yeah, that center battle is it's pretty competitive. It's pretty close, and we've had some sickness go through, and so some people have been out, and then when you're out, right, it's opportunity. And so Addie is really, got a lot of great reps. Ava was under the weather. She has a little more experience. She knows we want a little bit more. So I really want it to be competitive and reward, that, and everybody stay hungry. But it's, it's kind of neck and neck. I don't know if we've seen a big separation, but we're going to need them both, right? And that's where we have to go back to not glorifying the starters. I try to call them sometimes people who begin the game, because they're all we're going to need them. Foul trouble, some nights someone might have it, other person doesn't. So that's what went into that. She's had a super week of practice and was able to capitalize when Ava was a little under the weather, but Ava didn't bat an eye, didn't feel badly for herself, just, battling, so.
You talked this summer about wanting Kylie Fubach to play more freely, play more confident this year. Looked like she was playing confident through tonight. Is that the type of play that you've seen her through the summer and the fall? Yeah, it really is, and that's what Kylie can be capable of. So I'm hoping that she can continue showing that, because she's one of her best defenders, if not the best. Arguably she is. And then when she puts a consistent three ball with it,
So I was particularly pleased with her play tonight because we're going to need her, and that kid deserves it. She's worked really hard, and just her path hasn't always been easy, right? So I'm really happy for her and us.
You preach depth, a lot of times, and on a night like this where everyone scores, and especially in the beginning of the season, how does that make you feel? Just to see everybody put the ball through?
I looked at I don't have my stat sheet. But I feel like we could have made a few more. Then we missed some easy ones inside, I recall. I think you're going to see us, if we can really get a little sharper, we're going to hit a few more of those threes that we missed. I think this team has the capability for that. But I like what I saw defensively for the most part, because on the nights when we don't hit, I think we can be a little better defensively, and we've been emphasizing that. But we do have good depth, and we have a lot of competition. So it's going to be interesting. Nights like this as a coach, when you get everybody in, and everybody's happy and feeling pretty good. But there will be times where, we're just going to have to go with a certain set of kids. I think, though, the depth then is going to push them to be even better. And that's when, I'd like to think that the sacrifice that really good teams make, that they're going to understand that you just don't have a minutes for everybody, especially in basketball, because it's quick 40 minutes, right? And media timeouts, it's not always for someone being tired, because we got, Fox timeouts take an hour, right? So it's like you can go if you're one of the best players. So I'm very encouraged about that for sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah. Thank.